Got more water.
So amazing, so amazing, so amazing. And we've had an amazing weekend, haven't we?
Oh, yes, we have.
The weather was absolutely beautiful. Oof, beautiful, beautiful. Good
Oh,
evening, good people, and welcome to Intellectual Radio Voices of Change. This has been a busy weekend. Man, we've had everything. We had the Gospel Fest, the Chosen Few House Picnic. Today there's a stepping barbecue. And
mm.
we also celebrated Elliott's graduation yesterday.
Woo!
We are so happy to be here this evening. My name is Janice.
And I am Elliott, and I am your other host of the evening.
Tonight's show, we're going to focus on current news stories and any other thing that there's something else I want to kind of mention if we have time. I want to ask Elliott about how he feels about how we can bring young people and have them churched again.
Mm.
Anyway, that's something that maybe we'll have time, maybe we won't. But for the listening audience, I'm hoping for your input in the comment section to keep the conversation rolling. You know, we always start out with a scripture. For today, it is from Matthew 6:33. And we're going to have, you know what, because he's already a man of the cloth, we're going to have him do that. And if you want to do any other points afterward, feel free.
Sure. Matthew 6:33, the New International Version, says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well."
Yes, yes, yes. Seek first the kingdom. And being in the ministry, do you find, well, it's scripture, so it has to be so. No need to ask that. No need, no need, no need to ask that. It has to be so. We're going to start out with the news you can use. And Elliot, anytime you want to jump in, or when you're doing it, anytime I want to jump in, we're going to have it kind of interactive. Hey, Carolyn.
To me.
You see, Carolyn said, hello, Jan and Elliot.
Carolyn Schoenberg, my favorite. How are ya?
You know what? I found out something about you. You tell everybody that, okay?
Don't be telling my secrets
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My dad used to do that too. I thought I was his favorite for years. Then I
You
found
can't
out I
tell
wasn't. But
everybody
anyway,
the secret. Well, you were his favorite. You
no,
still are.
everybody was his favorite.
Look, that's how it works.
That's how it works. Okay, with the news you can use. Now we talked about this man last week, and his name's coming up again. Burkina Faso dumps colonial names, embraces African identity under President Ibrahim Traore. In a groundbreaking move that's making waves across Africa, Burkina Faso is taking a stand by renaming all locations that bear French colonial names, opting instead for local names that celebrate African heritage, culture, and history. President Ibrahim Traore has declared that this initiative is part of a broader strategy to decolonize the nation, reclaim its authentic identity, and dismantle the remnants of foreign control. But wait, there's even more. He has major infrastructure projects underway. His government is also kicking off new road construction projects. And here's the exciting part: local citizens will be the ones doing the work. What does
Mm.
this mean? It means job creation, development, and a sense of pride in building a nation with our own hands. This is what true leadership looks like. Traore is changing the narrative, empowering the people for the people of Burkina Faso. As you remember, I talked about him last week.
Yes, I remember.
He is doing, man. He's wow. That's what leadership looks like.
Indeed.
Donald Trump says he is giving serious consideration to revoking the citizenship of actress and activist Rosie O'Donnell, a fierce
Mm.
critic of his administration. While it's unclear if Trump has any legal means to pursue such an idea, he took to his social platform to dramatically escalate a conflict with those who oppose his administration policies. Because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country, I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship, said the president. He said she's a threat to humanity. And should she remain in this wonderful country of Ireland, if they want her, then God bless America. O'Donnell currently resides in Ireland. According to FinLaw, the Supreme Court has ruled that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution does not allow for the revocation of the citizenship of a natural born citizen, and she is a natural born citizen. This isn't the first time Trump has discussed revoking citizenship of a U.S. citizen either. He's made similar remarks about the New York candidate for mayor, Zoran Mamdani, who was born in Uganda. According to the New York Magazine, Mamdani moved to the United States with his family in 1998 when he was 7 years old. You know, this is his thing. If you remember, he had half the people believing that Obama said the
Yeah.
same thing about him. Remember, this is what he does, and particularly for Black people, I've noticed whenever he's in arguments with them or saying something to them, he'll say something reflecting that they're not too smart. You know, this
Always.
is
That's his.
that's kind of that's his strategy, isn't it?
It is. It's ridiculous.
So this is what he's trying to do now. It seems like if you don't agree with him, then you're on that hit list. And Rosie O'Donnell is she's very vocal, and she said the president of the USA has always hated the fact that I see him for who he is: a criminal, a con man, a sexual abusing liar out to harm our nation to serve himself. She says he's dangerous, soulless man with dementia who lacks empathy, compassion, and basic humanity. Seems like they don't have a love fest for each other. So, boy, we have to see how this is all going to work out. But now, right now, she's living in Ireland.
Goodness gracious. All
Okay,
right.
Joyce.
Joyce. I love Joyce. I love Joyce. She's great.
Oh, you know what?
I didn't say she's my favorite. I said she's great. I just love Joyce. Be nice.
But you wanted to so bad.
No, no. Um.
We call her Mouth from the South. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I'm moving on. Nigeria stands firm, rejects U.S. pressure to accept uh, Venezuelan deportees. The federal government of Nigeria has made a bold statement. It will not yield to pressure from the United States regarding the acceptance of deported Venezuelans, I can never say it right, nationals. Quote, Nigeria will not be a dumping ground, end quote. Top officials declared, firmly dismissing the U.S. request with a strong diplomatic language. This decision highlights Nigeria's commitment to its sovereignty and immigration integrity, standing its ground against being coerced into accepting migrants with whom it has no connection. Now that's something.
Can you? I mean, he's gonna contact Nigeria and say, "Look, I want you to take 500,000 Venezuelan immigrants and put them in." Now, Nigeria's having their own issues, obviously, like
Right.
any other country. What, they don't have a beef with the Venezuelans. Why would they do that? But what he's trying to hold over their head is letting Nigerians come freely back and forth in the States. So it's like, okay, if you don't do what I want you to do, then blah, blah, blah.
Let's see.
Oh my gosh. I
Ridiculous.
know. Africa's in here a lot. Here we go. Donald Trump issued a provocative threat during a cabinet meeting this week and says if New York elects a communist mayor, he might take the city over, just like he might take over Washington, D.C. And
Mm.
he says we have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to or when they don't agree with us. Okay, I just put that in. He was referring to the rise of Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee in New York's upcoming mayoral race. Mamdani is not a communist, but rather a democratic socialist, like Bernie Sanders. Trump can't just run New York, but the idea that Trump might try to run New York if Mamdani wins is something else. A warning to New York voters and a new threat to expand presidential powers. Does that mean starving the city of federal funds or something more drastic? It also could be pretty clearly unconstitutional for him to try to run the city, according to Elizabeth Goten, an expert on presidential power at the Brennan Center for Justice. Not run a city, she said, pointing to the 10th Amendment, which gives powers not enumerated in the Constitution back to the states. It has to be an emergency power. But who says it can't create one? There's no emergency power that allows the president to take over a city, she said, and particularly not in retaliation for electing a mayor the president doesn't agree with. However, I believe everything Trump says should be taken seriously. He has tested the Constitution repeatedly during his second term, trying to reinterpret the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship and reimagine the federal bureaucracy without passing any laws. There's no precedent for a city takeover because of an election. The deployment of troops to Little Rock, when that city was kind of taken over, Little Rock, Arkansas, by Eisenhower, was in the
Mhm.
service of a Supreme Court order. That's very different from a city electing a mayor with whose policy the president opposes. Martial law was also declared in Hawaii during World War II, but it was authorized by a law that no longer exists. He's saying to New Yorkers, 5 million or so registered voters, whatever you say doesn't matter. We're going to take away your ability to govern because we don't like the way you've decided to vote. He also referred at the White House to the possibility that he could also take over Washington, D.C., something he's been talking about for years. There's clear precedent for the federal government being in charge of the nation's capital. It's in the Constitution, after all, something that has always complicated efforts by progressives and Democrats to grant statehood to D.C. But Congress ceded self governance to district residents back in 1973 with a law signed by President Richard Nixon, who described himself as a longtime supporter of self government of the District of Columbia. I still say everything he says, you should really take it seriously because
Yes.
all he has to do is retrofit the situation to fit. So I just say we have to be very, very careful. Gardas Watch. Do you know Gardas Watch, Elliott?
No.
Okay. Someone you should know. Very sharp brother. Someone you should know. Tracy
Okay.
Story. Hello. Hello.
All of your people, all of your people, all of your people.
Not all my no, 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 no. Okay, okay. All my people. Okay.
Okay, so a 24-year-old woman was walking outside when a silver SUV pulled up, police said. Three male suspects got out of the SUV and demanded the woman's belongings at gunpoint. Police said there was a struggle, and one of the suspects shot the victim before returning to the SUV, fleeing the scene. The victim shot the victim, shot in the abdomen, was taken to Illinois Masonic Hospital in good condition. There is no one in custody, and Area 3 detectives are investigating. This is ridiculous. People are out here
I
just losing
know. All the robberies lately,
like
I don't
what?
know. I don't think she would have naturally fought, but I think it was a reflex. When someone's trying to, she probably, I don't know, but I guess there was a little struggle or something. They shot her in the stomach.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I know. I know.
Every time you
Uh,
look up
Gertis,
something,
Gertis said, what's sad is the Democrats aren't even supporting Mandami, and Adams is falsely accusing him of being a communist. I've been hearing that communist narrative, and he's not. He's a progressive. I mean, but that's what they do when they taint a person so much. All you have to do is tell people. They're not going to pick up a book and read sometimes. So you just
mm,
tell them. If you repeat it enough, people will absorb it and believe it. Then they go, "Oh, we don't want a communist, so we don't want him." Right? I mean, it's strategy. Anyway. The ABC 7 data team analyzed the numbers from Chicago police and found the number of shootings in the past 12 months stands at 2,225 shootings, not fatalities, shootings. Now that's nearly a 28% decrease from the average of the prior 3 years. Fatal shootings are also down 25% in the last 12 months. Non-fatal shootings are down more than 28%. We like to see those numbers down.
yeah,
Chicago's on the right track, but still has work to do. But we do love seeing those numbers go down.
yes, and we are almost, I would say, halfway through the summer.
Well, yeah, because we only have July, just Labor Day left for
Yeah.
summer holidays.
hmm
Wow. When Labor Day comes, you think about Christmas. Oh my God.
I don't. Labor Day, I'm thinking about the school year starting. I just be like, oh Lord.
Oh, because you're an
Although,
educator.
although
Yeah.
this is different for me now because like I don't have to take a class. I get to like teach a class, so it'll be a little different, maybe.
Yeah. Wow. Are you
Uh,
still trying to stay in the city to teach? I hope so. Or well, it
yeah,
doesn't matter
that would be
wherever you
great.
get.
That would be
Yeah.
great. That would be
Well,
great.
we'll pray on that. We'll pray that that happens. We hope that does happen.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Um, a McDonald's manager was stabbed to death by a co-worker after an argument between the pair at a Detroit restaurant, says police. Now, first of all,
Mm.
they talk about Chicago.
Well, D. Come on, the big D. Come on.
That's all I'm saying. They kind of say, "Oh, Chicago, 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 Chicago." You don't see this. Now we got.
Please don't say that. Please, ooh, take that back. Take that back. Take that back.
Well, you
Because
don't. I'm just
you
saying.
just never know.
I would hope not. Now we crazy. We, God forbid, they might shoot you, but they ain't gonna stab you to death.
Oh, that is that. Oh,
Because they want to get their number two with pickles and onions and extra lettuce, so they want their food. They ain't, they ain't trying to stop.
you know what?
They ain't trying to stop no man.
I am so done with you. Blood and every. Oh, I mean,
Oh,
this lady had babies. I mean, she had a family.
right. So Jennifer Harris, 39, a mother of six, good Lord,
Mm,
had worked at the East Point McDonald's location for
you
the
said
past
good Lord.
10 years. Last week, just after clocking in for work, she was forced to ask a colleague to leave following an argument between the two of them. The disgruntled employee went home and came back to the restaurant armed with a kitchen knife. She proceeded to stab Harris multiple times just after 8 a.m., the East Point Police Department said. The 26-year-old suspect tried to escape from the restaurant after the attack, but a customer with a gun fired a warning shot in the air and detained the suspect at gunpoint until police arrived. Harris was rushed to the local hospital where she died from her injuries. This is absolutely sad and devastating. No, number one, it's absolutely sad and devastating because, like, you hate to read stuff like that. And
Because you took a
unfortunately,
life. Yeah.
it's not an uncommon thing. But and so you have to know um, that when you are firing somebody or having to leave, you got to be on guard. This kind of stuff happens, and it's a shame.
Jeez.
It's
Wow.
really sad. Like, I understand you being upset, but you don't. You went home and you came back, and you mean nobody like saw her pull up and be like, "Oh, yo, old girl is back."
Right. That's the first thing I would say if I saw her again. She's back. Why is she back? But this girl was unstable anyway. If you on social media, she was posting. You see these videos she was posting?
Mm.
She's been posting all these crazy videos about her and her manager, her and her manager. She was just she wasn't all there.
And so given that, so like nobody else in the staff saw these videos and nobody said anything, nobody reported anything. You didn't tell your manager, hey, she keeps posting these videos about you. I would be careful or I would watch. Or like so like nobody's watching, nobody's saying anything, nobody cares to like, you know, do anything. Because I felt like if that were the case, this could have been prevented.
But to your point, Elliot, you had a good point about when you said when a leader or manager, whoever, is getting ready to let somebody go or whatever, or send them home, you have to be very careful because people are so on edge and so it we live in a different world. So you got
Yeah.
to be very, very, very careful.
Hmm.
It's so unfortunate. So people are like on the edge of snapping anyway for anything. So
Anything.
okay, can Trump deport Black American citizens? Can Trump deport Black American citizens? Black people born here. Not lawfully. No, he can't because we're citizens.
Exactly.
But he can unlawfully deport Black citizens. So the answer is yes, unlawfully deport him. The
Mm.
Supreme Court took the lower court's ability to stop him. After the Vicasa birthright citizen case, the Supreme Court ruled federal judges cannot issue nationwide or universal injunctions against Trump's executive orders without a class action lawsuit that is certified. That takes a while to get certified. So if Trump files an unconstitutional, unlawful executive order, judges can only protect those in the class action lawsuits or members of the certified class in the lawsuit, which there probably won't even be a class action lawsuit because it takes so long to get it certified and get it complete. Can
Mm.
Trump deport Black American citizens? Lawfully, no. He doesn't need to act lawfully if judges can't stop him. The Supreme Court Judge Jackson dissented and said the executive arm can deny rights if they have not found a lawyer. If you've not found a lawyer, they can just deny your rights, not even have you go through all the legal ramifications.
Mm.
Justice Sotomayor, who also dissented, said no right is safe in the new legal regimen. She said citizenship, civil rights, or voting rights aren't safe. In
Well,
March, and I remember when he said this, in March, Trump told the El Salvadorian president that he would be deporting homegrown criminals. So whoever he deems a criminal, it could be a Black American or any target group. So this puts Black Americans and any targeted group in danger. I remember when he said that back in March because I'm like, how is he saying he's going to ship away, he's going to deport homegrown criminals?
hmm it was
Wow.
only a matter of time before we were always on the list. He just never brought us up. It was only a matter of time. He was just working his way around. That's why a lot of people started kind of looking crazy and getting concerned when I started showing up, deporting people and getting people. I'm like, oh, you think we're gonna be exempt? Oh,
Right.
it's easy to get the illegals out. He working on a plan to get rid of us too.
But who's next? Right. And that's what I kept saying. I'm like, yeah, well, you see this going on around you, but who's next? What are they going to, and maybe a little paranoia is slipping in on my end. I don't know. But it makes you wonder who's next.
Natural, right? Like I at the I would take the stand to be spiritual in such a moment that the thing that keeps coming to mind whenever I get any kind of news like this, immediately God is still in control.
And
immediately.
thank him for that. Thank God for that. That he's still in
Immediately.
control.
Stuff is going to happen because it's supposed to. Stuff is going to happen, yes, but
Yes.
got to remember that he's still in control, and you know they we always say it in church. Uh, uh, the devil can only do what the Lord gives him the power to do. Like real talk,
Mm, mm.
it's limited. He can only go so far. He can only do so much. So even when it
Mm.
comes to stuff like this, he's a man. He's flesh and blood like you and I. He can only do so much. He's a person who feels like and acts like he has all power, but he does not.
No, he does. No, he doesn't have. We know who has all power in their hands.
You know, you you play God if you want to. You're gonna find out who it is for real. So
I'll
yeah,
be glad when he finds out.
yeah,
Something that's closely related to that story is voting rights. And remember Clarence Thomas?
yeah.
Ugh. Is that your phone?
That means
Oh, I hear ding, ding, dings. Okay.
yeah. I know that's all me. I'm trying to figure out how to turn it off from here. But go ahead.
We know how popular you are, so we expect that.
That's funny.
Anyway, we're going to talk about Clarence Thomas and the Voting Rights Act. Now, everybody or most of us remember Clarence Thomas. He's a Supreme Court justice. For years, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has voiced his disapproval of the Voting Rights Act, believing it has outlived its necessity. Once seen as a lone dissenter, Thomas now finds himself in a powerful position. With a solid conservative majority on the court, he may finally have the votes to reshape or severely restrict the landmark law that once transformed America's electoral landscape. The Voting Rights Act and why it matters. It was enacted in 65. The Voting Rights Act was a game changer in the U.S. Its goal was to end racial discrimination in voting, especially in those southern states where voter suppression was rampant. The law banned literacy tests, poll tax, and other tactics designed to keep Black Americans from casting ballots. Over the years, though, it has been amended and challenged, but its core mission remained crucial: protecting every citizen's right to vote. Clarence Thomas has long argued that parts of the Voting Rights Act, especially the provisions that gave the federal government oversight over state election laws, are no longer necessary. In his view, America has changed so much. It has changed enough that these protections are outdated. He has stated both in rulings and writings that laws like Section 5, which required some states to get federal approval before changing voting rules, are unconstitutional. He believes such sections place unfair burdens on states and no longer reflect our modern day colorless society. In 2013, the court decided Shelby County versus Holder, a case that significantly weakened the Voting Rights Act, where the justices struck down the formula that determined which states had to get pre approval before making voter changes. And we remember seeing that then.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, Thomas's opinions didn't carry the weight to rewrite the law. There wasn't enough of those conservative judges. But things have changed. Today's Supreme Court leans heavily conservative. Justice Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett have joined the bench, all appointed by Republican presidents. With his new makeup, Clarence Thomas may finally have the numbers to carry out what he has advocated for decades: a major rollback of the Voting Rights Act, a black man pushing the major rollback of the Voting Rights Act, or should I say a man with melanin. One major signal came in Bronovich versus DNC in 2021, where the court made it harder to challenge state voting laws under Section 2 of the Act. The section is supposed to stop rules that result in racial discrimination. Critics are warning. Civil rights groups are deeply concerned. They argue that voting discrimination has not vanished, and this isn't such a new colorless world. It has simply changed form. While we no longer see poll taxes or literacy taxes, we do see strict voter ID laws. We're seeing them everywhere. Reduced early voting windows, we're seeing that too. And
Mm-hmm.
mass purging of voter rolls. This is a strategic tactic they use. If a woman is married and her married name isn't on there, or her maiden name, or both names, or they just purge you. They just purge people from the voting rolls. These new tactics still affect voters of color, especially in states with a history of discrimination. For them, Clarence Thomas' long held views are dangerous, not just for minority voters, but for democracy itself. The public on this is split, probably half and half. Some believe tighter laws are needed to prevent fraud, even though they've done all kind of data. Fraud remains very low. Others believe voter access should be expanded, not restricted. Congress has attempted to respond with legislation like the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, but political gridlock continues. Meanwhile, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, are taking the lead, and Justice Thomas may finally be in control. The Voting Rights Act was born from protest, sacrifice, and a desire for justice. It helped millions gain a voice in shaping the country's future. Now, with Clarence Thomas and a conservative Supreme Court majority at the helm, the law's power is hanging in the balance. Whether the act will be revived, redefined, or dismantled remains to be seen. But the decisions made in the coming months could echo for decades. Can you believe we still talking about this voters? I remember saying, why is it a voters' right act? Being an act, they can always modify it.
Right.
Now they're getting ready to play with this. Oh my gosh.
And you have to forgive my, I guess I call it ignorance. For some reason, I thought for a long time that Clarence Thomas was dead. Only because we
I'm
heard.
not trying to laugh at you.
No, I'm sorry. It's only because like we heard about it like in passing as kids a little bit, but it's like we didn't hear no more about him as we
Oh,
got older.
you are right. I remember, well, you don't remember this because you weren't even, you might not even been born.
Because when they spoke
The
about it,
thing with the Pepsi can with Anita Hill.
okay,
Okay, that's when he first, anyway, when he first became, and then, everybody talked about Clarence Thomas, and he just faded because
right,
he was a loner. He was a
right.
loner.
And when you call somebody, I heard somebody that called somebody just a Clarence Thomas, or you heard Uncle Tom, and then you heard somebody call somebody a Clarence Thomas.
Not Clarence, same thing. Yeah, right, right,
Right,
right.
I'm like, that was the ultimate insult for black people. I'm like, ooh,
And I think being a Clarence Thomas would be worse because
yes,
right now he's exerting his power to
exactly,
literally change things. I mean, Uncle Tom is just doing things for themselves, yes, or whatever.
right,
So I think I'd rather be called up anyway. Neither one, but
right, neither. Right. But like, we didn't hear too much about it as I got older. You didn't even hear. So I'm like, did he die? I'm like, wait a minute, the man is still
you're
alive.
like,
Like he does, did he
yeah,
come back from the grave or whatever? We don't know. But it's crazy, that you would even have this kind of mindset to want to set your people back.
oh,
Like, and mind you, when you look at history, black people getting the right to vote was not that long ago.
that's my point. I'm
We're
not.
not even. I don't think we're talking about 100 years at this point. I
Mm,
don't think we've reached the 100-year mark of this. We're
no.
talking like, what are we talking about? 70, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 70, 60 some years, 60 some years, 60 years maybe. Yeah. So,
You
you
know,
know,
my mom is well over the age of 60, and she can if I sit down with her, she can go back and tell me some of these stories. She lived around a lot of the stuff that we read about in the history books. And so when I hear her talk about it, when she can say that I was around for X, Y, and Z, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not that long ago. So we're
right.
still in a struggle some 40, 50, 60, 70 years later, and you're trying to like just do away with everything. Like, this is ridiculous.
It almost makes me feel like we're walking into Jim Crow 2.0. How they're
Mm,
changing. I'm telling you, it's scary. But you know me. Anyway.
it's scary. We often you often hear my generation say, I am not my grandmother. I am
Yes.
my ancestors."
Yes.
And yeah, but I'm like, yo, you might have to get a taste of what it's like, and you may have to become your grandmother, your grandfather, your ancestor, because it's easy for you to say, "Oh, I'm not taking that."
And I
Well,
wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take that. Yeah.
well, of course, because you didn't have to. You
Right.
we got so many options that my grandparents and my parents didn't have. They didn't have a
Right.
choice. That was
Right.
all we knew. They didn't know what we know now. So they took it because that's what they knew. You know that
Right.
that was their culture. Our culture is different. Of course, we're not going to do what they do. We have so many options, but it always goes back to you think you're smart. There's somebody that's smarter. You still got to be like 10 steps ahead.
And
Don't think.
you have options, and you have options because of the sacrifice of the ancestors.
Hello,
But the
hello.
beauty from what you have and your generation has is you have a historical context. You can see how they pulled their way out of it. You know what I mean? You at least they
Mhm.
had no guide.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's
Interesting.
very interesting. Very interesting. Um, huh. Let's talk about the big bill.
Bill, I can't call it beautiful. I can't call it beautiful, but
And
I said big bill.
last
Big bill.
week, I was like, I want to throw my computer. Ain't nothing beautiful about this mess. Foolishness. But the big bill officially signed into law on July the 4th, 2025, is already beginning to reshape life for many Americans, with major changes rolling out between now and early 2026. Now, let's just go and be real. It was not by coincidence that this happened on July 4th. This was on purpose, set
That's
up
when he wanted to sign it. Yes.
right.
Independence Day. Yes, yes.
Yes, that was on purpose. So much so because they knew that a good chunk of Americans would be distracted and not even know what was going on. Because when word got around, they were like, "They did what? They didn't. They did." I heard a lot of that. Like, they did what? They signed what? I'm like, why do you think July 4th felt so different? Because most of us knew what was coming.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
this is probably the heaviest July 4th a lot of us have ever had.
You're
Because if
right.
you following the news or what was happening, you knew this was coming your way.
Yep.
And all of us, a good chunk of us African Americans are like, we don't celebrate July 4th. No way. Why? Juneteenth.
There you
Come
go.
on.
17. Power to the people.
There you go. We're here. So, the key implement.
Give us the timelines. When is this stuff gonna start? Because people are saying, yeah, they're talking about the big bill, the big bill, the big bill. So when is the implementation? Talk about the implementation.
Implementation July to October 2025. Medicaid work requirements began phasing in.
Yep.
Border security funding with ICE expansion starting immediately. We were seeing them anyway.
Yep.
Um, Remittance tax 1% and asylum application fees $100 take effect. Uh, that between now and October. Starting January 1st, 2026, the tax reforms kick in retroactively, including permanent 2017 tax cuts for individuals and corporations. New,
Permanent. Did you notice that? Permanent. The
yeah,
tax cuts for the individuals high earning and the corporations are permanent.
permanent.
Go
Like,
ahead.
how just how and why. New deductions for tips, overtime, and seniors. So yeah, whereas y'all been making all this extra money with your tips, working in the restaurants and things, and I can make this extra money by doing overtime and all of that stuff, and whatever money seniors are making that you thought was untouchable, and
Well,
you
for
didn't.
the seniors, it's only going to be $6,000. That's, I mean, so when we talk about this, we got to put it in perspective. It isn't like the seniors are going to get total deductions. Yeah, that's the first $6,000. That's why most of them are saying, well, Social Security, blah blah blah. It's $6,000 of their total income. But if they're on a real small income, it'll help a little bit. So
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. Now the overtime and the tips. I worked as a waitress, and do you really turn in all them? Anyway, go ahead, finish.
I mean, as I understand it, like that's why they always want you, like for you to put your tips in cash, and then once you put it on your card,
Yep, yep. There you go. Okay, you got it.
I'm here. I'm here. Um, Along with that is expanded child tax credit, 2200 per child.
That's whoop de doo. $200 more. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm
I
like,
mean, I'm not trying to.
I mean, right? I have a going joke around my friends. They were like, "You need to have some kids." I'm
You really do. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. You need to have some kids. I'm like, if I were who people wanted me to be, I would have 4 or 5 by now. But we're not gonna have that conversation anyway. Mid to late 2026, Medicaid eligibility checks um, intensify with 2 yearly reviews. Have
Right.
cuts to SNAP benefits and ACA subsidies beginning impacting low income and immigrant households.
Mm,
Who is most affected first? Medicaid recipients, then immigrant families, then low income Americans are affected the most, affected at first. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and most of those, I mean, some of them start like now. Which one did you say start soon? July to October, the work requirement and the border security funding and remittance. But a lot of them don't start till next year. So
Yeah,
people are thinking, even though the big bill passed, they're thinking, well, they ain't cut me off yet. But you got to
right,
understand the timeline. It's
right.
facing it.
It's
Next
coming.
year, it's coming.
It's
It is
coming.
coming. Oh, look at I have time to ask you my question.
All
And
right. Well,
that is the news you can use. And if you guys have any comments, let me know and I'll make sure to push them up. But what I wanted to ask Elliot about, and it's probably not fair because I didn't ask him before the show, but I was just thinking about it because I don't know about your church. I went to your church, Elliot's church yesterday. Oh my God, it was beautiful. That room, Elliot, that was so beautiful. And to see your pastor, I've only seen him on, the web, him and his wife, but he looks the same way and just such a distinguished gentleman. But like very much like our church, your church has more young people, a lot of young people. Tell me what that secret is because our church, I'm not, I don't see the young people. How do we engage the young people and bring them in the fold?
so let me first give the disclaimer.
Okay.
Um, we have a pretty decent size uh of a youth department of young
Yes,
people.
a lot of
It,
young people. I said, wow,
it is not as nearly as it once was. Uh,
really?
it, uh, we're talking what you saw is a like a drop in the bucket. We were 3 or 4 times that size at one point with young people.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it's been a decline of young people in churches everywhere. Um, but if we're talking about first of all attracting them, um, you have to. How do I say this right? You have to find something that will interest them,
That'll pull them in.
that will pull them in. And for some people, that may be just a simple conversation. That may be, sharing a common interest. Like, sports for athletes is always a thing for young men and young women. Um, Sports. A lot of this newer generation are gamers. They are on their
Um,
Nintendo Switches. They're on their PS5s all day. They're on the internet playing games. um, that may be a way to share a common interest. You bring up a game or character in the game. I mean, they literally discuss, what's happening in the game and how to get around and how to get to this level and where you. It is a daily discussion, like the old people talk about soap operas. Uh, the young
beyond the
people.
gates, beyond the gates, right?
Right, or some of them are like into their Netflix series or Hulu, whatever,
Hmm.
you know but being able to connect at its core, find something that uh will connect with them. And when young people know that you care or you have interest, they may be more willing to connect to you.
Okay,
And
so let me ask you this. Does your church have a lot of organizations for young people? Is it music? I mean, I was just surprised at all the young people there.
so times let me say this, times have changed. And that's a hard pill to swallow because when I was coming up, and even generations before me, again, we didn't have a lot of options, right? So like y'all came to church, and we wanted to be in a choir, we wanted to play, we wanted to sing because that's the stuff
Right.
that was exciting to us. Okay, if I had kids, if I had a child, he or she would probably be like 14, 15, or maybe 18 by now. Their needs and their interests changed. Music is still a thing, but not every child want to come to church to sing. Some
Hmm.
children interest in speaking. Some children took interest in working in the media team. Some children took
Ah.
interest in, most of them took interest in the things that were had bells and whistles. So that meant, okay, you can work the camera. I'm gonna teach you how to run sound. These are things that once you find out they're interested in, that you ought to be trying to invest in. Hey, you like what happens when you watch the live. Okay, come to church. I'm gonna show you the inner workings of how the live stream works, and I want you to be the person to be one of the people to help us run live. What ideas do you have? What can we change? What could be more exciting? Because one thing you got to know, young people like structure. They may never tell you that, but they like structure. They don't like
Hmm.
being told what to do, but they do like structure because there's a sense of security in your structure when they know they can come into your place of worship, and we know you're gonna sing, you're gonna read scripture, you're gonna do another song, and blah 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 blah. If they know that this is the structure, they're gonna come in, but they don't want to come in there every Sunday and there's something different, and that says you don't know what you're doing.
Hmm.
That says you're not prepared. You didn't take any time, and that ultimately says you don't care. And it all boils down to you being a person that cares, and you showing that you care by what you put out there. Young people will always sense when you are disingenuous and when you're not interested. No matter how you smile at them, they will look right through you and tell you to your face, you're lying. You're being a hypocrite. You're not doing. You aren't. You fake. They'll tell you. They'll tell you. And those are
Wow.
things I've learned just working with the young people I've worked with. I'm like, wow, you know, I didn't think I was getting through to even the middle schoolers I worked with. And when I left, these kids were crying. Like, we're
Oh,
going to
wow. Oh.
get an impact. I'm like, wow. So, again, you want young people to come to your church. You have to find something that interests them.
Hmm.
Go out. I knew a principal. Here's another one. I knew a principal. He was getting ready to interview to become a principal at a school. And what he did was he went to the school like the day before his interview, and he set out like in the common area of the school and watched the kids like come in and out. And he stopped a couple of them like, "Hey, what do you like about this school? Who's your favorite teacher here? Like, I'm about to come to this school, so what should I be aware of?" He spoke to these kids.
Wow.
And
And they talk to him freely?
they talk to him because most kids can sense when you are genuine, or they'll answer your question and be like, "Okay, you're weird, but let me answer your question and keep moving." Whatever. Uh, um, but they'll know when you're real and when you're fake. And so again, you want young people to come to your church. You want them to be involved. Have something for them to do. Not everybody wants to come and sit at Bible study and listen to you preach to them every day. Let's be honest. That was cool for us, and we didn't always like it either. But
Right, but we did it.
we did it. But the kids after us, my godchildren, aren't going to sit down for that.
Oh,
And the kids after them are iPads and iPhone kids. They were born with an iPad, born with
yeah,
that. Came
absolutely,
at school
absolutely.
telling you how to use your stuff. So you have to get something that's going to interest them, something at their level. Don't roll up in there speaking King James version to them. They don't even know who King James is. Speak their language, you know, and be honest. And be honest. I'm gonna say it again. Be honest. Be real. Be genuine. Tell them I wasn't born next to Jesus in swaddling clothes. I messed up. I did this. I did that. Now you ain't got to tell all your business, but
Right.
you never know. Children, and when I say children, I mean under the age of 18, under the age of 15. Children are going through. they are going through, and they don't know yet how to compartmentalize. The littlest thing shatters their world at 14, 15 years old. The
Wow.
littlest thing shatters their world at 9, 10, 11 years old. They don't know how to handle their anger. They don't know how to handle their happiness. They don't know how to work out their emotions. And to ask them to do that is a disservice because they don't know how. You have to teach them how to do. And you have, that's why I say you have to be honest. You have to be genuine. You have to be loving and caring. You have to be sympathetic. But you also have to be firm. Tell them the truth, but still love on them. They'll appreciate you for being
Hmm.
honest with them. They'll appreciate you for telling the truth. The teachers who we remember the most were the ones that probably cussed us out a lot, or that told us you sound crappy, or you didn't do this right, do it again.
Hmm.
And I know you can do better than that.
Oh,
Those
that's
were,
out of love. That's out of love. Yeah.
yes, because they're gonna know you love them.
Hmm.
They're gonna know it. So again, you want the young people to come to your church, have something for them. Find out what they like. Don't give them what you like, because that's what you like. You're not them.
That's
But
right.
talk to them, find out, meet them at their level. This is the stuff that Jesus did. This is what's his ministry. Since we're going here, he didn't spend his time in the temple. He was out amongst the people,
Hmm.
finding out what they did, seeing what they were under, seeing what they were doing. You know, he didn't walk in and say, "Hey, yo, I'm Jesus Christ. Y'all need to follow me." No, he rolled up on them like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? What you up to?" You know, we talk about the Bible study where the woman asked him for some water. He's like, "If you knew who I was, you would ask me for the water that will you would never thirst again if you drink of the water that I have." He took the thing that was so common to her. He took the water that she was trying to get and said, "Hey, I got better water for you than the water you trying to get from
Hmm.
me."
Mm.
That's how you get young people. Come to them at their level, find out what they like, show genuine interest. And it's okay to say, "Well, I don't know nothing about that. Tell me about that. What is this about?"
Right.
Help me
Right.
understand. What I like is what I see a lot of on TikTok is, they have brain rot words. It's a whole other language out here that they're speaking.
I don't know
Uh,
what brain rot words are.
and all of them just escaped me. But if the kids were saying them, they have a
Okay.
video where the kid says the word, and like if the adult says delusional, the kid would say, "Oh no, that's delulu."
Ah,
Stuff
okay.
like you know. But he's trying to learn his daughter's language because he's about to go and deal with young people. That shows that you care. Now they don't want to hear you talk to them in their language because now
No, that they don't. No. No. Mm-mm.
you're being weird. But they will remember that you took some time to find out what they're talking about and that you
Right.
care. The high schoolers that I just got done working with that graduated, they they appreciated the fact that I took time to find out about them and to see about them and see what was going on with them. That's what they remember the most.
Mm.
Again, love them, care for them, be genuine with them, find out what they like, and don't beat them over the head with Jesus because the Bible says you're supposed to compel them to come, not make them come.
Right.
But
Come on
live a
now.
life, live a life that's compelling. They may
Yeah.
not come right
Example.
away.
Make an example.
Yes, they may not come right away, but trust me, if you just go and be the light, if you just go and be a light in the dark place,
Be
they will
the
remember
light.
that light is always shining. There are teachers I can remember because I had to write about them when I was in college. Several teachers, as I was writing these papers, who were light when I was coming up, and I couldn't explain it as a kid. I'm like, oh, these teachers were saved. They knew the Lord. You could feel it. You knew it. You could see it
Hmm.
in their
Hmm.
countenance. They were light wherever they went. Those are the most memorable teachers. And so you want to make an impact. You want to be impactful to young people. You want to have them come to your church. Matter of fact, I'm going to go here real quick and I'm going to be done. I'll be bold and say, forget about them coming to church. You want them to come and get saved.
There
That's
you go.
what you
Yeah.
want.
That's more. Yeah. Absolutely.
So whether or not they come and join your church, I want you to have a relationship with Christ
Amen.
above you coming to my church.
Right.
Because that's what they really need. And truth be told, that's what they really want.
Hmm.
Your church is secondary. and if you don't have enough to sustain to keep them there, they're gonna leave anyway. So you better shoot for making sure that they at least know who Jesus Christ is, and that at some point you're gonna want a relationship with them. And if that is formed from our relationship, with us forming a relationship, and you end up giving your life to Christ, great. You ain't got to come to my church. You can be associated with me. You can say that you know me. Wonderful, beautiful. But I want to make sure that you know who Jesus Christ is. And I want to make sure that I'm living a life and being the light that you see. So,
Now
yeah.
you sound like Minister Bell. Matter of fact,
No.
Gardis White said, Pastor. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Is that prophecy?
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Oh,
my
the
goodness.
pastor of Church of God in Christ. Anyway,
Oh, my
minister.
God.
He said Pastor is correct on his assessment. Young people also want a relationship. They want people who they can trust. Some of the people of my generation are bad at establishing trusting relationships with the youth. It's true. It's
And
true.
my mentor used to tell me, she said, young people don't like old people because old people lie. I was like,
We
what?
do. That's
I,
you know what?
I was
That's no
all
true.
out. I was like, what do you mean? Because I'm like, I've never known you to lie to me. She said, no, but it's the truth. Old people lie because they want
That's
to save face. They don't, that culture of that thing that you don't go telling your business and people
right.
ain't got,
And you
and
lie.
I get that. But you ain't got to lie about it because at
No,
some point, somebody needs to know that, again, you wasn't born after Jesus in swaddling
that's
clothes.
right. That's right. That's
Know
right.
that you didn't do everything right. What you
You make
see now,
mistakes.
right? What you see now is the end product of years of trying and failing and struggling, but in always wanting to do it right.
And still work in progress. Come on.
Hello, because it as long as you breathing, you still working in
There
progress.
you go. There you go. Nice to see Elliot and Jan. Nice to see you too, sweetie. And
Yes.
our last comment is from Mouth from the South out of Atlanta. Great show, Jan and Elliot. Thank you, Joycey.
Uh,
It's that time already. It's a couple minutes till. I guess you probably don't have any closing because you've been talking, but you may have a closing. He's like, wait, you've been talking for a minute, but you may have a closing and you may not.
look, I was trying. You know not to get me started because we just go. But no, as I've said in previous shows, hey, we're embarking upon a new week. Make sure you have a good week. Don't mess with nobody else's because you want to be raggedy. Make sure that you do everything that you can to have a good week. Take the Lord along with you. If
Man,
my bishop always tells us, if you go with God, God will go with you. And we
that's
we
right.
chuckle at it, but it's the truth. If you really follow Him, He'll make sure that you get where you need to get to. So, look, have a great week. Enjoy yourself. Do something to make somebody happy, make somebody smile, and I promise you, you'll be good. You'll be good.
I concur totally. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you next week at 6 p.m. Tell a friend. Don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we'll post something and let you know. Be blessed.